And just like that, I am back in Hong Kong, a place I've been coming to over and over again for years, a place that I absolutely love. There's no martial arts on this trip. This will just be seeing Hong Kong itself. One of the things I absolutely love about Hong Kong is it's just so photogenic. It's like especially here on Hong Kong Island, it's like all these little alleyways, every single place you go, it's just so unique and so different, and there's just so many cool photo opportunities everywhere you look. And in recent years, there's been a lot of talk about Hong Kong kind of losing its identity. I think especially since the big protests 2014, and I think the other one was 2019, just before COVID. And those two massive protests pretty much shut Hong Kong down. And as a result, a lot more censorship came in. The media is a lot more heavily censored than it used to be. The government officials here are very heavily vetted to make sure that they are pro-Beijing and in line with Beijing. Hong Kong's always had a very rebellious spirit, and that spirit's kind of been somewhat extinguished of late. That said, I still think that Hong Kong is very much Hong Kong. A lot of people are saying that Hong Kong's just becoming another Chinese city, but I completely disagree. I think that although Beijing wants to quell that rebellious spirit, I think that Hong Kong people themselves are still very independently minded, free-minded. They still have their own ideas on things. And, Hong Kong, at least as far as how it's run, how it looks, the general infrastructure of the city, the feel of the city, the culture, the people, is still completely different. It's a world away from mainland China. And also I think that Hong Kong, much like Taiwan, Southeast Asia, like some of the Chinese enclaves in Southeast Asia, like Penang and places like that, can also kind of offer perhaps an alternative view of what China could be. Hong Kong, obviously Hong Kong's Hong Kong, it's a small city, but at least in terms of what, say, places like Shanghai or Guangzhou or Fuzhou, some of those really big cities could be, I think Hong Kong, for better or for worse, could provide a glimpse into what an alternative view could be. There's also a lot of talk about what's going to happen with Hong Kong after 1947. So when Britain negotiated the handover of Hong Kong back to China, it was the agreement was to preserve Hong Kong's way of life, system, freedoms, rights, whatever, for 50 years. Obviously that's being gradually eroded, and I think a lot of the protests and various things that were happening have accelerated that erosion. But honestly speaking, I don't think after 1947 Hong Kong is just going to become another Chinese city. I think there's too much that's unique about it, and I think as a financial hub, as an economic hub, there's a large population here that I don't think is going to accept, suddenly having this full-on socialist system imposed on them, and the roads changing from left to right, and the police and everything being disbanded and reformed. I honestly just can't see it happening. I think it will be too much of an overhaul of something that already works pretty well. And I think that Beijing knows that there's a lot of benefits to having this one country, two systems policy. Now, I also noticed quite a big difference between Hong Kongers and people in Macau, Macanese, especially in their attitudes towards mainland China. Like I said, Hong Kong is quite rebellious, quite free-spirited. People here have very mixed views about mainland China, but I noticed in Macau, their view of China was overwhelmingly positive. You know, they like the fact that these high-rolling mainland Chinese are coming in, spending their money in the casinos, buying all the luxury goods, staying in luxury hotels, and as a result, Macau is incredibly wealthy. So I suppose there's quite a difference in their relationship with mainland Chinese, and also the benefits, the perceived benefits of mainland Chinese visiting perhaps is less to Hong Kongers than it is to people in Macau. What? So I want to just interrupt this video briefly to talk to you guys about a product that I use quite a lot myself. Now, I think you know me well enough by now to know that I would not endorse just anything. If I'm going to promote something, it's only going to be something that I truly believe in and something that I genuinely do use myself. Some of you may know that I also work as a journalist and geopolitical analyst. And having this line of work has made me acutely aware of the biases that are present in a lot of mainstream media reporting on world events. And as such, it becomes harder to know what's really going on and to separate reality from the narratives that are being spun. And so one of the products that I use to get around that is something called Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that combines news from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. For every news source, you can see if they have a political bias, how reliable their reporting is, and who owns them. You can verify your information and know where the news is coming from. With Ground News, you can see what the media is exaggerating, sensationalizing, over or under reporting. You can see who funds each publication, compare coverage, and think critically about the information you consume. Go to check.ground.news/monkeystealspeach to check it out now. If you subscribe for my link, you get 40% off the price. Morning guys, today for day 2 we are heading over to Kowloon by ferry, and Kowloon is a really interesting place for me. It's the place where, well, first of all, it's where most of the martial arts are here in Hong Kong. If you watched my Hong Kong series on the main channel before, you'll have seen pretty much all of those interviews, I think bar one, were filmed over on the Kowloon side. And Kowloon's also the very first place I came to in Hong Kong, 2007, when I was 18 years old. I stayed in Kowloon for about a week, and then several more trips. Back in my early 20s, I used to come to Hong Kong pretty much every year on visa runs from mainland China. Always used to stay in Hong Kong in budget accommodation, so I'll take you around there and see where I used to stay. Right, this is the ferry we're looking for to Tsim Sha Tsui, the place that I can never pronounce. Most expats in Hong Kong just call it TST. Now we're going to find how to actually buy tickets to get across. It's just like being back in Sydney. Somewhere here? To film the thing closing. You can definitely tell these ferries are British built because they feel pretty much identical to the ferries in Sydney and the ferry port as well. So this is the famous Nathan Road, and this is where I stayed, 18 years old, my first ever trip to Asia, 2007. I'm going to take you guys to see Chungking Mansion, which is where I stayed. It's the most notorious, probably roughest place to stay in the whole of Hong Kong. Here we go, Chungking Mansion. I think they cleaned it up quite a lot, but when I came here in 2007, it was a pretty rough place, Chungking Mansion. But it's a hot pot of different cultures. Lots of Indians, Southeast Asians all living in here. It's the main kind of backpacker hub where all the backpackers squeeze into these tiny little hostels. But it's definitely cleaned itself up a lot from when I was here in 2007. It's pretty tame now. Maybe it's just because nothing's really open, it's the morning, I don't know, but it used to just be packed, just full of people. And you just, as you walk along, you would be constantly approached by people trying to sell you drugs, women, fake watches, all sorts of stuff. Like, you would find everything in here. Not you would find everything in here, everything would find you in here. But it is also probably the best place in Hong Kong to find really good Indian food if you're interested. Look at all that, look. Look, Pakistan and Filipino food. So this is the other one that I stayed in, Mirador Mansion. It's pretty much the same as Chungking Mansion. It's also like a melting pot of different people, and it's quite similarly chaotic. It's the same sort of thing as Chungking Mansion. So yeah, this one I stayed in as well. And you'll actually find a lot of these Indian guys speak really good Cantonese, and they've been here. You know, they'll be permanent residents or whatever, and they've been here probably their whole lives. Yeah, see all the budget hostels, hundreds of them. So when I came here, I had no idea that there was multiple hostels. I didn't know the name of the hostel. I just knew I was staying in Chungking Mansion. Well, this one's Mirador Mansion, but I just knew that I was staying in Chungking Mansion. And I just arrived 18 years old, fresh-eyed, with all my luggage. And I just got here, and then just all these people swarmed on me asking if I needed a hostel. And I was like, yeah, I've got a booking. And of course, I had no idea which one it was. I eventually found my way to the right hostel, and it was honestly a hellhole. If you remember the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, The Beach, and you remember that hostel that he stays in Bangkok, it was pretty much like that.
Where you are, man?
And this is it. Bangkok. Good Time City.
gateway to Southeast Asia, where dollars and Deutsche Marks get turned into counterfeit watches and genuine scars.
Good time, boy, girl, fucking, no problem.
This is where the hungry come to feed.
You wanna drink snake blood?
It was a tiny little room with a bed, barely enough room to put your suitcase on the floor. Shared bathroom that was pretty nasty. No windows, and then just writing all over the wall, just things like "get me out of here, this place is hell," just all sorts of stuff written all over the walls. It was a shock to the system for the first time in Asia. This way. I mean, nowadays Hong Kong is such a safe place, and yet you walk down these little alleyways hidden behind these really tall buildings, and you can feel, you know, what it would have been like, you know, maybe in the 90s or so, when triad activity was rife here, gang violence, and you can see like all kind of things could have gone down in these little alleyways, and there's absolutely no way for police or anyone to really know what's going on, like, you know, unless some unfortunate bypasser is, for whatever reason, walking down here and bumps into something. But yeah, you can see, like I say, now it's Hong Kong's a very, very safe place. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed Macau and Hong Kong. I'm doing a lot more videos for Monkey Exits Cave lately, so this is a new channel I'm trying to get off its feet, so appreciate if you guys can leave a comment, let me know what places in China you're interested in, what topics you're interested in, and give the channel a subscribe, help it grow.